Yeah, good evening. So, Life Divine, the two negations, refusal of the ascetic, page 25, last line. But this conscious being, which is the truth of the infinite supermind, is more than the universe and lives independent, independently in its own inexpressible infinity as well as in the cosmic harmonies. World lives by that does not live by the world. And as we can enter into the cosmic consciousness and be one with all cosmic existence, so we can enter into the world transcending consciousness and become superior to all cosmic existence. And then arises the question which first occurred to us, whether this transcendence is necessarily also a rejection. What relation has this universe to the beyond? It's so nice to read it again. And somehow that image is coming to me, that how we are always trying to harness nature, right? Like as if we can just exploit it and make use of it. And that has it good too, right? Like if we are using it, it has its positives, but mostly the center from which we operate, it feels like we are the king, right? Like the nature is beyond, kind of below us, and one day a tsunami comes, or something happens, and suddenly we are jolted and reminded of our position, right? So even if we can, no matter how much we deny, right, it doesn't make a difference, right? If I say, oh, the ocean is powerless, that just talks about my perceptions and my state of mind, right? The ocean is like, usko kya farak padta hai, right? It's absolutely unaffected. And I think how beautiful it would be totally unaffected by any such negations, comments, judgments. That yes, you don't believe. Okay. Acha, you believe. Okay. You know how one stops doubting, right? There would be a point when it's like total that yes, this is. And that is again very beautiful. That world lives by that. That does not live by the world. So how does that matter? If you want to align, that's good for you, right? If you don't want to align, okay, we'll one day till you are ready to align, then you can align. Otherwise, there's no other way. And this rejection in the end, seems more like a ladder to me. I don't know if it's the same thing though, but when I step up, I'm not rejecting the ladder, right? It has made me who I am. So I feel that step is a part of me. And now I'm going for another height, right? So it's not a rejection, although it might look like that, right? That I'm pushing it below and I'm rising up. But if it goes away, I'll fall, right? The ladder would break. Each and every step has that stability that it's giving to the ladder. So don't know if we can call that a rejection or just it becomes a part of you and then next and then next.
I think यही explore करने वाले हैं कि if those of us who may consider it a rejection, so if I reclaim the throne of my spirit, which I truly am, which is also transcendent, matlab, like there is an ocean, and then there is a part of ocean in a balti, and then a part of ocean maybe in a glass. So the full ocean would be referred to as the transcendental aspect of our divine presence, and the one in the glass would be known as the individual aspect. And then there is in between, there is the cosmic aspect, जो material manifestation है, the cosmos है ना. तो there is unmanifest which is the transcendent, जो अभी manifest भी नहीं हुआ है in creation. Then there is the manifest which is coming out of that transcendent, which is the cosmic existence, that too I am. And then there is the individual aspect जिसको हम psychic being कहते हैं, है ना. And this psychic being is in touch with both cosmic and the transcendent aspect of the divine. So that is why when I get in touch with the psychic being, I actually have the ability to go further, if they can be called as ladders. है ना, जैसे श्री अरबिंदो बात करते हैं realizations after realizations. So first is the psychic realization, then he talks of spiritual realization, you know, a transcendental realization. He goes further. तो उस मतलब अभी तो हमारा साइकिक यू नो, इट्स अमेजिंग कि अभी तो कहानी शुरू हुई है ना. एंड देर इज सो मच for a human being to do. It's actually a task ascribed to us, each one. So he's saying that this conscious being, the consciousness in us, which is called as the divine presence, which is animating my body, this conscious being, which is the truth of infinite supermind. So that little spark is actually part of that transcendent whole, is more than the universe. Imagine the power. The I remind myself of Alokda reminding ourselves, you know, we constantly keep on reminding ki contemplate on this truth, you know, that you are the Brahman, you know, is more than the universe and lives independently. And वो कहते हैं ना, चाह गई चिंता मिटी. So we are actually parallelly living at that reality also. We may not find it concrete because उसके साथ टच नहीं है. Is more than the universe and lives independently. अपनी मड़ी में आज आप मैं खेलूं. You know, वो कबीर का एक सॉन्ग है, अवधूता युगन युगन हम योगी. So here he shares, अपनी मड़ी में आप ही खेलूं, खेलूं सहज स्वेच्छा. So ये मेरी इच्छा है, you know, I am the only one alone. There is no other. So lives independently in its own inexpressible infinity. The ऐसी infinity, some of it of course can be expressed as cosmos, and rest everything is unmanifest, potential, pregnant, you know, in that vast silence, its own inexpressible infinity, as well as in cosmic harmonies. So both manifest and unmanifest. World lives by that, you know, what you were sharing. That does not live by the world. So अगर त्राही त्राही हो जाए कॉस्मोस में, how does it matter, है ना, वही बात हो गई. And as we can enter into the cosmic consciousness and be one with all cosmic existence, that oneness that we feel with all the beingness that is there manifest, so we can enter into the world transcendent. So जैसे कि हमें एक रियलाइजेशन साइकिक बीइंग की होती है, साइकिक रियलाइजेशन कहते हैं, then there is cosmic realization that you feel one with the manifestation, and then you feel one with the whole transcendence aspect, है ना. वो भी मतलब सोचो, मतलब क्या अमेजिंग steps. And then arises the question which first occurred to us, whether this transcendence, so if I am reclaiming my throne, so to say, would this mean that I am rejecting the material existence, not claiming it? I think that is what वो जो भी आप भी बात कर रहे थे ना, उस पे I think he is going to now explore what relation has this to the universe beyond.
Very beautiful visual. I mean, whatever you shared, had that. It's like, it's like that small fish in the fish bowl, right? And then you put it in and then it feels this is the world. How will I ever do anything big or whatever? And then you put it in a small aquarium, and then it tries, oh, this is the world. Then maybe a bigger aquarium. Then maybe it gets into a river, and then it gets into the ocean. And even in ocean, it doesn't, it's like, when you were sharing that there's cosmic manifestation, and then there is unmanifested. Okay, we say that, okay, Earth is the only planet which has water, that makes cloud, that has the ocean, but वो भी कहाँ से आ रहा है? How is the water vapor here? Where is it coming from? Like, no idea. वो तो as is we are seeing, and we are saying we are entitled to it, right? ये तो है ही. But even beyond, there are things which are making the oceans and the worlds and the water is being supplied or whatever. That koi, there's no end to that vastness, right? It's pretty amazing. And then if I have touched that space, and when I touch my limited fishbowl space, then I can laugh, right? I mean, not always, but at least then I'll have the possibility of saying that, oh, this is just my fishbowl, right?
आई थिंक यहाँ पे उसी की बात आ जाती है, डिवाइन सेक्रीफाइस की जब बात करते हैं ना, दोज हु आर अवतार्स, वंस दे go through that conscious realization that they are actually the avatars. So actually it's a sacrifice for them to be in touch totally with the transcendent and yet living in a hut. वो जो जैसे रमन्ना मारिसी कहते हैं ना कि when you realize yourself at whatever level है ना, मतलब as if it's like an elephant living in a hut, how would it feel? And that is why they call it avatar sacrifice. It's a divine sacrifice.
Mm.
और हमारे लिए इजी इसलिए क्योंकि हमें तो कोई याद ही नहीं है ना। जिसको याद ही नहीं है कि वो कौन है तो ठीक है, मतलब एन्जॉइंग द बॉडी। बट जिसको पता है कि वो कौन है और वो कहाँ फंसा पड़ा है, उसके लिए स्ट्रगल, मतलब इवन देन टू बी हैप्पीली डूइंग ऑल द वर्क्स हियर।
आप ग्रैंड आइटर
आगे करें।
Mm. For at the gates of the transcendent stands that mere and perfect spirit described in the Upanishads, luminous, pure, sustaining the world, but inactive in it, without sinews of energy, without flaw of duality, without scar of division, unique, identical, free from all appearance of relation and of multiplicity, the pure self of the Advaitins, the inactive Brahman, the transcendent silence. I'll pause here.
दिस इज ऑल्सो इन सावित्री, दिस इज टू कम, अभी तो आया नहीं है वो वाला पार्ट, जिसमें इट्स लाइक आई थिंक showing that these levels of realizations है ना, and if we take that to be real, then it is a possibility that we regard everything else as unreal, कि for example I think ये जो जैसे when a lord of death is having a conversation with Savitri, and then he shares that okay, then you reveal to me who you truly are. And then she reveals that I am the mighty mother, and I have given you birth, even death. तो उसके बाद आई थिंक दे ऑल्सो शो कि एज इफ विद सत्यवान ऑल्सो इज अलाइव इन bliss and harmony, and there is full light and silence and beauty of all that realm. बट सावित्री डिसरिगार्ड्स दैट, है ना? अगर आपको याद हो, ये हमने बीच बीच में कभी टच अपॉन किया हुआ है. सो शी सेज कि या दिस इज ऑल गुड, यू नो, बट दैट विच इज ओवर देयर, द मटीरियल, आई वॉन्ट द सेम ब्लिस फॉर द मटीरियल. तो ये वही जैसे कह रहे हैं ना कि ऐसा लगता है कि वाओ, यू नो, एवरीथिंग इज पीस, स्टिलनेस, ब्यूटी, द इनएक्टिव ब्रह्मन, इम्यूटेबल, अनचेंजिंग, द ट्रांसेंडेंट साइलेंस. And the mind, when it passes through skates, suddenly, without intermediate transitions, receives a sense of the unreality of the world. Because ऐसा लगता है कि oh, if this is real, then all that is an illusion. What am I living for? So अब ये, you know, यही I think श्री अरबिंदोज योगा की यही बात है कि इसमें इसको नेगेट नहीं किया जा रहा है ना, इसको इंक्लूड करने की बात कही जा रही है कि दिस ऑल्सो हैज टू बिकम डिवाइन. Bliss is not only saved for that transcendent space where you can reach through the spirit. And ये जो कह रहे हैं ना यहाँ पे, for the gates of the transcendent stands that mere and perfect spirit. So somewhere I heard again Alukda talking that people talk about impersonality of the divine, like it's vast, infinite, and impersonal. But then there is a personal aspect of divine, which is a divine being. Like imagine a infinite, humongous divine being, and we are all in it. All the cosmos is in it. So ऐसी एक वो shape दिखाते हैं which appears very fascinating, that it's like a divine being. So the spirit, जैसे कह रहे हैं, stands that mere perfect spirit described in the Upanishads, luminous, pure, sustaining the world. That original, you know, as if the oneness from which everything is emerging, है ना? So वहाँ पे कोई division नहीं है, कोई duality नहीं है, no. And here I am, you know, in the world of duality. So one can again consider that lower and reject it, and consider this as pure, and this is worth following. Yeah, please go ahead.
I was saying कि even to say these words aloud, it felt joyous. You know that. So I think one thing that came out is बहुत जल्दी मान जाते हैं. In the sense we just feel that yes, this is enough, right? कि okay, you have maybe transcended that, or if you have overcome this, okay, good job, you know, good. उसी में ही then we spend 2-3 months कि oh, I did this, and but all, you know, like flaw of duality, scar of division, without scar of division, without flaw of duality, free from all appearance of relation and of multiplicity, like it's feeling that how is this even put in words, right? Like it just like so much it's capturing by such small, it's pretty fascinating. And again, you know, this thing that how where the Vedantic, I mean, I don't know that much, and yet where they point, right? That how first, because there is so much inconscience, there's so much jadta, one has to first reject the physical so that one can transcend it. And then once you transcend it, then you have to pull that along. Like as if, you know, you are in a, I don't know, ditch, and there are two of you, and you have to step on somebody to go up, right? You have to go up. You cannot stay in the ditch. But once you are up, then you say, okay, I'll pull you now. But for that thing, you know, that's why a lot of people, not a lot of people, but I've heard some criticism, right? That he's going beyond the Vedas for some extent, right? Because we don't understand Vedas yet. But whatever that was told to us, say by uh, yeah, our masters at that time, like Sankaracharya and all, whatever we could understand, whatever, you know, was right for that time was told. And then we just keep sticking to it, right? That he has said that. It's not that I understood that, right? Or at that time, that is all what we were capable of receiving because this was too advanced. And I think that's why Mother always talks about that just a handful are needed, right? It's pretty, like, again, beyond words. Like, the.
Mm. And I think also जैसे if वो जो ditch example you shared, so उसमें ये है कि if I am in the ditch and I want to, of course, I see that there is a possibility for me to go out and step above and be out of it. So I can go out. Yes, I can pull the person out of the ditch. But if there is a motherly affection, then I would actually, after I've pulled out that person also out from the ditch, I would actually look at the ditch and I would say, oh, but that's still a ditch. So this is where mother's love would come in when we talk about that it was divine love which went into the darkness and ignorance, because that was the only thing that could save the inconscience. uh, like it was going so deep down in abyss that if not for that love of Shakti or Aditi, uh, not possible to bring it out of that darkness. तो यही वाली एस्पेक्ट सावित्री में भी दिखाई गई है कि जैसे व्हेन सावित्री सीज है ना कि उसको मतलब शी इज गिवन दिस पॉसिबिलिटी दैट यू एंड सत्यवान कैन स्टे फॉर एवर हियर इन दिस ब्लिस ना, शी सेज दैट नो 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 बट माई टास्क इज देयर, हाउ कैन आई डू दिस, बट आई वॉन्ट सत्यवान फॉर दैट पर्पज, वी हैव टू डू दिस टुगेदर. एंड अगेन बहुत सारे सिंबल्स इसमें ना हिडन है, मतलब विच अगेन एक बार दो बार बात करने से नहीं आते समझ. सिंस जैसे सावित्री अ लेजेंड एंड अ सिंबल, श्री अरबिंदो का जो टाइटल है ना, लेजेंड एंड अ सिंबल, तो मेनी मेनी सिंबॉलिक मीनिंग्स आर देयर थ्रू आउट. तो ये नॉन डुअलिटी, जैसे अद्वैत की बात करें, अद्वैत का मतलब ही यही है नॉन डुअल. So if you reach that state, one can also take it in this way and get settled that if you have reached a state which is a state of non-duality, जो अभी हम बात कर रहे थे, then that's it. So we don't then talk about working in dualities, having divine manifestation there. तो वहाँ पे मुझे लगता है again a very small window that I have कि मुझे लगता है जैसे that's why Sri Aurobindo talks about Shankaracharya, that what he did was that okay उस समय के लिए वो बहुत है ना, as you said कि it was maybe that was what was required, but we can't just stop there कि वो non dual है तो okay remain there and let the duality go into abyss.
And I think again and again, it's a very good reminder not to be sticky.
हाँ, yeah, yeah.
Somebody tells us, "अरे अरे, ये नहीं है, this is it." And then we say, yes, this is it. Then we don't realize that because he said this is not it and this is it, there will be more this is it, right? This is it is not a point.
Hmm.
And even this, the at the gates of transcendence, तो अभी तो ये gate की बात हो रही है, just at the beginning, कि when you entering, अच्छा हुआ अभी तक इतना ही बोला है. Yeah. So, and the mind, when it passes those gates suddenly, without intermediate transitions, receives a sense of the unreality of the world and the sole reality of the silence. When you were reading these lines, that NDE and the tunnel, and how you feel that bliss, and so many people have shared that. even in silences, right? You reach there. In meditations, you reach there. It's 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 there, right? I move away from it in my littleness. That's there all the time, which is one of the most powerful and convincing experiences of which the human mind is capable. Thank God. So, here in the perception of this pure self or of the non being behind it, we have the starting point for a second negation, parallel at the other pole to the materialistic, but more complete, more final, more perilous in its effects on the individuals or collectives, that here its potent call to the wilderness, the refusal of the ascetic.
I think यहाँ पे I feel very important messages like Anita Murjani, what the second book that she wrote was, what if this is heaven? तो वो ये नहीं कह रही कि वो था heaven. She could have said that, है ना, how much beauty and what is there. So I think this such kind of experiences are very relevant, है ना, नहीं तो otherwise we can just negate कि that, as you were sharing, that state of being is available to me 24/7. If only, as mother says, I make that more concrete for myself, that is my reality, not this limitation, suffocation, knowing myself as the limited ego. No, but knowing myself as that power, beauty, लेकिन वही है कि इट इज एफर्ट टेकिंग प्रोसेस है, मतलब बिना एफर्ट के तो क्या ही होगा, बिना एफर्ट के तो डिफॉल्ट तो वही है, क्योंकि सिंस एवरीथिंग टर्न्ड इनटू इट्स ऑपोजिट, सो डिफॉल्ट तो इग्नोरेंस ही है, डिफॉल्ट तो लिमिटेशन ही है. एंड दैट इज वेयर मदर, जहाँ पे वो प्रेयर्स एंड मेडिटेशंस में, आई थिंक मदर वन ऑफ द प्रेयर्स, मे बी कपल ऑफ प्रेयर्स, शी सेज दैट as if there is a chant going on, towards you. So आप देखो that, imagine that it's like all ignorance, darkness, and it's like actually a chant going on towards up, the upward movement from darkness, वही जो असतो मा सद्गमय है ना, from darkness take me towards light. So that's why all the prayers have a reason, that's why all the mantras have a reason. Otherwise ये अगर ये खेल ही नहीं होता तो फिर this chant would not have come up.
The last line here, the refusal of the ascetic. So, based on this, is it saying that now we can refuse the ascetic? That
नहीं, now we can talk about the why the ascetic would ask us that no, I don't want this world. Ascetic तो उसे कहते हैं ना, who is belonging to their sadhana in the solitude forest, that is more real, this is illusory. So that is a refusal. एक तो था starting वाला materialistic denial. So a materialistic denial, denying the spirit. That's where he is starting from. And an ascetic is saying no, no matter. He is denying the matter, material existence, and he's saying yes, yes, spirit is true. So that refusal of the matter. तो वो कह रहे हैं कि once we taste this beauty, the mind when it passes through gate suddenly receives a sense of unreality of this world, that this is mithya, jagat mithya, you know, and the sole reality of the silent, that that is real, that which I have touched in my experience. Huh? Here in the perception of this pure self, the moment I perceive it, and that's why he's sharing that the human mind is capable of perceiving this. तो कुछ चीजें तो हम कहते हैं some are beyond mind, but this is a state which is perceivable by the mind. So I know that yes, this has happened, I've experienced that. So here in this perception of this pure self, this state of being or non duality, non being, we have the starting point. अब हम बात कर सकते हैं for the second negation, parallel to the other pole, to the materialistic, more perilous in its effect, so more dangerous. He is saying कि all is an illusion, this is a dream that is going on. Refusal of the ascetic.
And maybe that's why the word rejection was also used, right? Like,
Hmm.
mm,
आगे बढ़े.
yeah, it is this revolt of spirit against matter that for 2000 years since Buddhism disturbed the balance of the old Aryan world has dominated increasingly the Indian mind. Not that the sense of the cosmic illusion is the whole of Indian thought. There are other philosophical statements, other religious aspirations. Nor has some attempt at an adjustment between the two terms been wanting even from the most extreme philosophies. But all have lived in the shadow of the great refusal and the final end of life, for all is the garb of the ascetic.
I think यहाँ पे मेरे को वो याद आता है जो तिग्नाथान once explained, uh, when we talk about non-being or anatman, it is not meaning that there is no self. I think Jetsunma also has talked about it. Okay, there is no separate self, and that if you go and find yourself, you will find all the elements. Okay, everywhere there are all the elements. So where is this separate me that I am talking of? So in that sense, they talk about anatman or non-beingness or nothingness. So I think अजीब थोड़ा सा मुझे तो यहाँ पे confusion ही है कि how can it be so misunderstood? I don't know मतलब what did Buddha say actually, you know, and what was really understood out of his whatever he shared. Because the contemporary teachers are not saying that he said कि there is no being, you know, no non-beingness है और दिस कॉस्मिक इल्यूजन है ना, ये वाली बात. तो ये अगर हम कंटेम्प्रेरी टीचर्स को सुने तो समहाउ ये एस्पेक्ट दिखती नहीं है ना, उसमें बार बार यही दिखता है दैट द वे आई सी इज डिस्टॉर्टेड वे ऑफ सीइंग. So hence not to buy into my senses what they are saying, and like have it a loose grip, like not to hold them too tightly, my ideas and perceptions. But again, I think at this moment in this sentence, it appears that he is saying that like Buddhism को अगर वैसे देखें तो one becomes a Buddhist monk or nun and you know goes away from the so-called regular day-to-day life, worldly life. You know.
Jesse, one becomes a monk or a nun very early in life, right? And yet, even in the old traditions, people used to leave, right, to become sannyasis and all really early on. There also that similarity है ना, is there. So yeah, I think यहाँ पे we don't know enough to even.
आई थिंक जो इंडियन वो है ना, अ, अगर वो उपनिषद गंगा आप याद करो तो उसमें जो बताया गया है जो स्टेजेस, उसमें आई थिंक ऐसा है ना कुछ कि क्या होता है, कौन से वो आश्रम्स होते हैं?
हाँ, तो बेसिकली सबसे पहले तो बाल हो गया है ना,
हाँ
बच्चे का जो
हाँ हाँ
बचपन
हाँ
हो गया। उसके बाद में आता है ब्रह्मचार्य, मतलब स्टूडेंट होता है।
हाँ
स्टूडेंट के बाद ब्रह्मचार्य,
हाँ हाँ
ब्रह्मचार्य के बाद गृहस्थ।
हाँ। सो देखो,
फिर-
ब्रह्मचर्य के बाद
हाँ
गृहस्थ आ रहा है।
हाँ
सो इट्स लाइक यू गो आउट, है ना, एज
हाँ
एन एसेटिक
हाँ
और monk or nun,
हम्म,
whatever, but then
हम्म।
you come back with that wisdom and have the grihast life.
No, but that is for the one who wants a grihast life. There are two distinctions.
हाँ
एक
हाँ,
हो जाता है if you are going to the on the grihast way, or then there is a way of ascetic कि तुम सीधा ही you
ओके,
refuse that. So that is also acceptable.
ओके,
That is also there because sannyasis and all were always, है ना, मतलब ये जो जो छोड़ के चले जाते थे, जैसे अखंडानंद जी at the age of I think 19, before much before that he left, he went, and that was acceptable. Okay, I think we'll move on. But all have lived in the shadow of the great refusal. So again, this refusal, shadow as in behind that refusal, right? Within that confinement, usi ka hi shadow. And the final end of life for all is the garb of the ascetic. The general conception of existence. You want to say something?
नहीं नहीं, go ahead.
The general conception of existence has been permeated with the Buddhist theory of the chain of karma and with the consequent antinomy of bondage and liberation, bondage by birth, liberation by cessation from birth. Therefore, all voices are joined in one great consensus that not in this world of the dualities can there be our kingdom of heaven, but beyond, whether in the joys of the eternal Vrindavan or the high beatitude of Brahmaloka, beyond all manifestations in some ineffable nirvana, or where all separate experience is lost in the featureless unity of the indefinable existence.
So again, I think जैसे if nowadays if we hear either Thignathan, Jitsuma speaking about this samsara or this, so again a different understanding somehow comes, that first of all it's like our own entanglements which is samsara. It's not, and because of those entanglements, if I don't work upon them, then I'm bound to come back again and again and start from those entanglements and try to resolve and kind of resolve the knots. जैसे what they talk about है ना, attachment, anger, aversion, ignorance. So they talk about actually taking care of them, है ना, working on these poisons that we have in our life, so that being in the life we can live as liberated fellows. Somehow I have not again come across any teaching, maybe है ना, जैसे जिसमें ये कह रहा हो कि बर्थ इज अ बॉन्डेज, है ना, जैसे ह्यूमन बर्थ इज अ बॉन्डेज, दे ओनली से दैट ह्यूमन बर्थ एक्चुअली इज अ अपॉर्चुनिटी, एंड अभी तक तो वही दिख रहा है जो लिटिल लिटिल विंडोज। एंड वो जो बोधिसत्वा की बात करते हैं, दैट ही एक्चुअली चूजेज, अ बोधिसत्वा चूजेज टू बी हियर, इट नॉट द प्योर लाइन्स ऑफ the Buddhas, but he chooses that okay, I have to come back for the work. But वही है कि हमने, I think at large, what did public understand out of what was given? समझते भी तो अपने उससे ही है, तो वो भी हो सकता है कि at large it was looked at like this, you know, that birth is bondage and only liberation is cessation of birth. Otherwise, this is all suffering. You know, but if we go into the teaching of Buddha, then he's saying that when we get attached, when we are in this grip of senses and sticky, then we suffer. It doesn't have to be there actually. वही है कि it actually confuses me when I go through this and then.
No, even in the Vedantic thing, it's it's shared that how when a child is born, by the mere birth, we start teaching him, because he's your chacha, he's your uncle, he's your aunt, this is your father, this is the society. And then when he is ready to move beyond, the bondages, then he has to unlearn that no, nobody, no, nobody. So I think that bondage of birth is also reflected there. Okay, by merely taking birth in a setup, how the bondages automatically come and you have to unattach from that. You have to say that no, not mine. Yeah, for the body maybe, but born in the body, but we become the body and the body has bondages. And thus it feels that liberation comes only by the cessation from birth. That we often talk about like death, and even in Savitri how it says that it's so good. So again, I was just reflecting that being how I am, so sticky and so set in my ways that each and every pattern takes so much to break. So it's so good that fresh start is given, so that okay, some things can be let go. I remember I was a very bad student when I was in school. So, it's like, and so many homeworks used to be due, and so many copies had to be completed. And I was like, and every time I remember in the, I think, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, that I used to tell myself, okay, next class, because, just let this mess end, because it's just too much right now for me. Like, I don't even know where to start. Imagine a second, third class child. But next class, when everything is beginning afresh, then I will start from the beginning and I will not let this mess pile up. I never succeeded, I think. I don't remember, but उसके बाद मुझे याद भी नहीं है. But in that initial 2-3 years, I remember very strongly feeling that okay, I'm in a mess now, but it's beyond me. And given another opportunity of a fresh class, I'd hit the ground running. So, how it's like what I need right now, I might not need later, but I do need that right now. I do need that clean slate right now. And what a blessing it is to have a clean slate given by the cosmos when you can't do it, right? I am unable to clean my slate sometimes, some are. It's again very, yeah. So here all voices, like even if it's Buddhism or if it's anything, but all voices are joined in one great consensus that not in this world of the dualities can there be a kingdom of heaven, but beyond, whether in the joys of the eternal Vrindavan or the high beatitudes of Brahmalok. beyond all manifestations in some ineffable nirvana, or where all separate experience is lost in the featureless unity of the indefinable existence. So it's not here for sure.
आई थिंक
And
आप देखो
also
ना।
not,
हाँ
yeah.
हाँ
ये
प्लीज।
इसको भी निगेट ही करा हुआ है ना वृंदावन और हम इसको भी
हम्म।
निगेट ही डाला हुआ है ना, या
नहीं, ये कह रहे हैं कि यहाँ नहीं मिलेगा। सो ऑल
हम्म
दीज वॉइसेस, अद्वैतिक वॉइसेस,
हम्म
बुद्धिज्म,
हम्म
एज इफ दे
हम्म
सेड दैट यहाँ तो किसी हालत में किंगडम ऑफ हेवन नहीं मिल सकता, बट
हाँ
ओनली वी विल फाइंड इट बियॉन्ड, लाइक प्योर लैंड ऑफ बुद्धाज, और सम ब्रह्मलोका, और वेयर एवरीथिंग इज वन एंड इन हार्मनी। बट यहाँ पॉसिबिलिटी नहीं है। सो अभी तक तो इतना ही है। But therefore, all voices joined that not in this world of dualities can there be our kingdom, but beyond, whether in the joys of eternal, मतलब कहीं ना कहीं beyond all manifestation,
हम्म
कहीं तो है, but यहाँ नहीं।
हम्म
This cannot be it. And अब देखो, Thich Nhat Hanh again in one of the videos he talks about the kingdom of the heaven is here right now. Kingdom of God is, I am right now in the kingdom of God. तो
हम्म
एक वो कहने का तरीका है, समझने का है ना, मतलब जीने का तरीका है। तो इसको खत्म कर लेते हैं, ये वाला है पैराग्राफ।
and and through many centuries a great army of shining witnesses, saints and teachers, names sacred to Indian memory and dominant in Indian imagination, have borne always the same witness and swelled always the same lofty and distant appeal. Renunciation, the sole path of knowledge, acceptation of physical life, the act of the ignorance, cessation from birth, the right use of human birth, the call of the spirit, the recoil from matter.
I think this is why mother would say that money has gotten into the hands of Asura, power has gotten into hands of Asura. Now, why? Because we did this. He said, नहीं ये तो बहुत तुच्छ है, मनी मटीरियल है ना, पावर अरे किसको चाहिए, हमारे पास तो सुप्रीम पावर है। सो दैट्स वाई वी मेड, एक्चुअली वी अवर सेल्व्स मेड अर्थ द वे इट इज लाइक टुडे, मटीरियल मैनिफेस्टेशन। अगर कोई लीडर है, करप्टेड है, तो उसके पास मैक्सिमम मनी है ना, पावर भी उसके पास है। सारे ऐसे लोग हैं जो काम करवा सकते हैं जिससे। बट इफ देर इज अ स्पिरिचुअल पर्सन, ही वुड से नो 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 नो, मुझे पावर का क्या करना, मुझे मनी का क्या करना है ना। तो वही डिनाई करते करते वो गलत हाथों में चला गया है, विच मदर सेज विच हैज टू बी रिक्लेम्ड। और उसकी वजह से उसकी एनर्जी भी करप्ट हो गई है। वॉट मदर वॉज शेयर्स इन मेनी मेनी प्लेसेस, दैट इफ यू begin in interaction with money, you actually need a very pure being inside. Otherwise, the moment money touches you or power touches you, it's very easy to get corrupted if the purification is not yet complete, है ना, अगर लेवल नहीं है, बहुत impurities अभी भी हैं जो दिख नहीं रही हैं, तो they will rule us. Money and power will begin to rule us. And while if we again not clinging to money, but if we live in abundance, है ना, that we are doing mother's work and we begin to live in abundance, that okay, if it comes, it comes, and let us put it to good work. That is also a possibility. तो not to negate it that मुझे क्या करना है पैसे का। यहाँ पे ख़त्म करें, थोड़ा कर लो इसको, बता लो कुछ बताना है तो। मुझे लगा या किया आपने, शायद ख़त्म करने वाले हो।
नहीं, I was just saying that how simply it's been said, na वैसे कि
हम्म
how we have always thought that okay, renunciation is the sole path of knowledge. Acceptation of physical life, the act. If you're accepting that, it's ignorant. Cessation from birth, the right use of human birth. The call of the spirit, the recoil. In the sense, ये जो हमको अपनी ये limit, the thing, it's not that, it's like how we say that if you go on Kailash, you are the one who's going on Kailash, right? You automatically don't transcend ke now you are there. So if I, who love my limits, is going to different worlds or am approaching spirituality, I still being the one who loves limits because they feel safe or it feels that there has to be some definition. I keep changing my definitions, but I don't give up the definitions, right? Okay, this, but beyond. This is what I can see. This is what I can see, but there are beyond. They are beyond. We forget the but,
या
right?
एब्सोल्युटली, आई थिंक वो स्टिकीनेस वाली बात होगी ना, कि कहीं ना कहीं जाके बस चिपक जाना है ना, चिपकना ज़रूरी है।
But this thing that I know, I know, I know is coming out again and again, that how it sits on our heads and then it doesn't let us live, right? It
या
stops us. It stops us. Yeah, in the harmony circle this time, it was like there was this quote that says, I don't know, wish list. And number one was peace of mind. So we were just reflecting on, is that true? Peace of mind, which is not true, right? Like the way I live, it's not my first thing. I always have this. And then it came out that for the peace of mind, initially it appears that you have to fight outside, right? But then when you get tired of fighting outside, you realize that the one you have to fight is your own self, right? I have to fight with my own self to make peace of mind my priority. And then we talk about battles, we talk about this is a good fight, this is a right, and that fight is not out there. The fight is in here because me being who I am keeps sticking, keep defining, keeps limiting. And I have to fight with myself. No, 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 this is not your limit. No,
या
no,
या
no, no.
या
Like what a beautiful point of realization. ये सारी लड़ाई खुद से ही है.